Welcome back to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. Let us chit chat a little bit about this lovely 5D spiritual and or mindful, mystic or not, living and loving. And we are going to just hit it off with those who are of our 5D collective. They love to embody the depth of the emotional experience, not with insecurities or complacency, but with the destiny of the enlightenment journey that comes from you being yourself by being able to own all of yourself. So first you get all of that stuff worked on and you expand your window of tolerance to window welcome. When you own your lovely mind, so your destiny, your brain, your mind, your embodiment, now we have observer, witness, or narrator. And so we have a person who can choose to be in the depth of their emotional experience with the I expand my consciousness as I continue to be myself with flaws, integrity, but playfulness. Okay, so you resonate with the playfulness that comes from those who are within our 5D collective. So you resonate together. There's no ego death. There's us expanding and reconciling differences with each other and inside of us and outside. So that's when you're going to have a person who can speak about fears, concerns, vulnerability with other, and also handle healing trauma successfully with those who are on a true healing journey. So when you have a true healing journey person, they will be with a good therapist, and that will be either for their borderline personality disorder or narcissism or sociopathy and or the childhood trauma, developmental stuff. Okay, so you're going to have a person who's proactive with a plan and more than just a plan, and they want to achieve their inner and outer well-being. So we don't enable maladaptive patterns of behavior like addictions to drugs, sex, food, alcohol, whatever it is. We don't enable the shaming, blaming, faulting, revenging. No, we don't enable the family in the head, the inner critic, outer critic. We don't enable the adaptive child part. So we're not going to enable Cusco behavior, if you will, or Pinocchio on the island behavior. We're going to be with people, those of the 5D collective I'm talking right now, that are healthy other. So no characterological distinctions and no judgments, okay? That's why we get to be the wing and the wind beneath each other's wings, So 5D people are the wind beneath each other's wings because they know how to consistently self-regulate by self-attuning, and that's a conscious choice. Some are here very straightforwardly, and some get here with us, but we definitely allow ourselves to choose mindfulness, spirituality, to live and love this way. It's really beautiful to be in a physiological state of compassion and to pursue higher mental, emotional, and physical intelligence and mastery. So you don't dampen your response to yourself. You have the desire and capacity to expand pleasure, sensuality, excitement, and connection, because those deep feelings are at your core and you're mindfully aware of your core and want to have the relationship with you. So being yourself, again, flawed and perfect with all those emotional moments, but with true compassion. Thank you, Sadhguru, for this. It is not about giving or taking. True compassion is just doing what is needed. And the reason why you can do this is because, as I was explained in one of my courses, when you are in a physiological state of compassion, the insula lights up, which connects my mind, my brain, to my body. So this is where we're restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating people here at 5D. It's why we can sit and stand and be open-hearted, no shields, none of that stuff. No Cusco attitude. It's a Pacha attitude here. So the insula lights up, the amygdala is alerted, but I have the capacity to bring down my prefrontal cortex. So the amygdala is alerted because you're a person, and I'm going to be alerted to your needs and my needs, but I get to recalibrate. So from my temporal junction, I'll relate to you with what is happening to you from my past experiences, but I move to my prefrontal and use my executive decision makers, which are fully developed by the age of 25 for the biological woman, 27 the biological man. And with that, I take in the information and I see what I can do to help you. I've already recalibrated to the present and in my prefrontal cortex because I've recalibrated to my ventral vagal state, not to your emotionally in that moment. You know, you're going through something, so you're going to be upset potentially, and not in a bad or good way, but depends on how you're working with that emotional depth. And so, one moment. thanks to this capacity, the person who is in this, what I just described, so I've had plenty of experiences with it. Now I can explain it too, because of the attachment trauma educators. Obviously, I don't learn this on my own, but remember, I'm pseudoscience lady and I fuck up data sometimes. I forget it. So, but I can explain the elements of how I am relating to life with that which I've understood. And obviously, it's not a set in stone thing. So if you go and want to point at that, even though that's not for those who are of the 5D collective, and I'm going to keep using the word because it's a person who has playfulness when we are talking. They're not trying to prove anything. If you got an adaptive child, they're in any conversation with I know things. I don't know everything. I know some things. And what I do know is that I'm here to support people to be their self. And so it's a one-to-one, and then to share voices, stories, perspectives of how it is to be yourself mindfully and spiritually, and the 5D collective because of me being that 5D mystic. And the Enlightenment Soul Age Group too. So again, we're bringing spiritual and spirituality and sciences together here at IHP. But it's not because I say it's a list of truths. No, it's a conversation and an interaction and a lot more. So anyways, when I was in a situation, I knew by that point all of these fancy good words, but I also knew what was going on in my body. And I had what is called a biological rude person in front of me, meaning a reaction. It was a red. So this is when somebody has, let's say that I'm talking to you and I do something by speaking words that trigger a wound. But it's not a small trauma wound, it's a big trauma wound. And it's one of those rejection, abandonment, okay? So by triggering, now what happens is in front of me, in fact what I have is a person who has been triggered, and what you'll find out is all of our embodied brains protect us. So when you have a person who is in their defense mode consistently, which is anyone who's acoustical basically, but yellow or red are two different states. Stephen Porges is the one who's taught me these words. So red or yellow. Red would be complete offline, just they're reactive. Whatever you say doesn't even matter. Yellow, it's probably where they're modulated, is how I'm going to put it down, but I could be wrong. So long story short, though, I'm in the green because I'm knowing how to self-attune, regulate Maria in a moment that I'm interacting with you as a pacha, because that's what restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating, and choosing this 5D way that I'm talking to you about, and just being yourself, flawed, integrity, all it. Okay, so I speak words that trigger a red, and I'm starting to get yelled at, but I get yelled at, quote unquote, by first a statement. The statement the person makes has me have emotional memories, thoughts, stuff comes up, as well as my own nervous system is emotionally, because we're mammals, so I'm also regulating to them. So I'm perceiving twofold. But because I'm aware and I am able to consistently maintain a state of compassion because I'm not afraid of you, if my gut says that I'm physically safe, I'm not going to leave. If you're yelling in my face, and that's it, I'm a divine feminine, as I've been sharing. All of us have divine feminine, divine masculine, but I'm a embodiment of the divine feminine. So since I can remember, I use my gut. My feelings tell me yes, and then they say no, not my left is only used that says yes, no, maybe, and whatever wants to come through. So it's an immediate, it's not after. And I will follow it to a T because my embodied brain I trust me to care for me. And I also have learned in the years that my gut is spot on with what I am interacting with, because people are individuals, so you don't generalize and create stereotypes, and that's the other part. So whenever I'm in the presence of a person, I'm basing that I'm getting to know you based on you, not based on any textbooks. And so through my 44 years of life, I've learned this. I shared a story with you all yesterday about that one. Maybe I'll share it again. So it was on sharing fears, concerns with unhealthy self-worth people. So I might do that again and just hone in on the story and give you more details, because that was number one in my mind of, okay, my gut was right. Everything that the subject matter experts I learned from, who defined all these character traits of people this way, is the only reason I thought that I was good they were wrong, I was right. And when you understand that no one can pinpoint a human being spot on because it's a person, you will be a unique individual. The way your thoughts work, yes, we can create generalizations, but you're still going to be a person. And in the circumstance is what is going to make a difference. And that's why, even though I know Robert Sapolsky, he loves to think he's disproved free will, he hasn't. He's made a good argumentation for it. I haven't finished reading the book at all, but I know that he hasn't disproved it. He's made a good case for why we can understand why people do what they do, why we want to take it into consideration, like Bessel van der Kolk, Stephen Porges, all the people who are telling us about how the body and the brain works and how we can support each other to heal. And that's why this is a very important for me community, besides you being yourself and choosing to do mindfulness, mindset with me through the content, through the mentorship, depends what you choose, but also just storytelling and walking a walk and talking talk, because we walk around with the unconditional love and the physiological state of compassion. So the reality is, the ones who will resonate with IHP, they love to be a person. They know that there's no ego death, that there's an ego and a self, and you expand with inspiration because you can reconcile that we're all imperfect and flawed, but we're still a connected infinite of humans here on earth. And for those of you who are mystics, you know it goes beyond, and it's not a plane of good or bad. That plane from our ancestors is a 3D, 4D plane, and the only ones who still live it like that are the very same ones who ignore a person like Patrick Tiahan in healing their inner child. They don't do it. They like to make fun of the ones who talk about it. Oh yeah. And then they like to have identities. So long story short though, every person that you will meet is going to be different. So if you use people who box people up, anyways, that's just small-minded human beings do it. And they do it for one reason and one reason alone, which is the fun. It's the funny part. I laugh because you dampen your experience of life by deciding that because one person did something, or two people or three people, that now you're going to make it a generalized statement. But also because yesterday did things some way. So anyways, it's just, while the ones who say you're blinded to da-da-da-da, yeah, I'm blinded to some things. What I'm not blinded to, though, is that my gut is a spot-on gut compared to another person who's going to assume. Now, that doesn't mean that I can be correct all the time. No, I can be a person who ends up having, so for example, let me use this, smart people that I get to have in my life, they notice things. And so they will have spotted, we all have an Achilles heel. I'm going to put it that way. I have an Achilles heel. I choose that if I let you in my herd, I will be a person who will trust you, because I will not be allowing you in my herd if I need to have any type of boxing gloves. I won't put up boxing gloves. That's not even remotely going to be anything. That would mean that I am making a fake friend. That's not cool. Okay, so I'm going to make a real friend. And then I'm going to let my friend be who they are, because also the only people who make up all these stories are the people with pain points that the ones who ignore the good information of all childhood trauma therapists that are saying and sharing how you can get to your kindness and you can become an embodiment of yourself. And here we're already, that step is where you want to love more. So we support each other and we're healthy other, because if you share fears, concerns, and vulnerability with me, I'm not going to cast a stone. And so I'm not going to say personality disorder is not healable. I'm not going to say that addiction is not healable. I'm not going to say any of that. I'm going to say anyone who puts their best foot forward with all of that which causes them human suffering is healable, because there's smart people who are sharing that. I'm a mystic. I'm a woo-woo spiritual lady. So, some people will take me more seriously. I'm not to be taken more seriously or less seriously. I'm to be taken for what I will bring to you. And that's because you will watch me walk a walk, talk a talk. I will watch the same. And all the ones who think that they are hiding anything, they're under the very grave illusion of thinking they can hide. You can't hide your facial expression. You also can't hide your tone. And we're all an embodied brain. So when you learn from Stephen Porges, where you wear your heart, it's not on your sleeve, it's on your face. And the only people who will have any mistrust towards kind people, they're the same ones who need the kind people around. They need to be treated with love, unconditional, so that they can have at least one interaction where they're not brought the shame that they are expecting to be brought from here with that self-loathing gut wrench, which is why we are not afraid of the 1-year-old or 3-year-old of a person who is a person when we look in their eyes. So I don't have trauma charges, and any healthy self-worth other doesn't, because we have emotions and thoughts, and we don't use them against anyone. We will use what is our prefrontal cortex to expand our relationships, and that's mindfully and spiritually living. So whether you're mystic or not, we know that we're all vulnerable to emotional experiences and mental ones. The ones who are healing effectively, they want healthy others, and they need healthy others. Besides their good therapists, they need the people who will be with them as they have fallback, and then we can pick them up and we keep them accountable, because we don't enable your maladaptive patterns of behavior, the fucking drinking, drugging, the lack of healthy self-soothing mechanisms. We will have a plan. You have a plan already. So when you're working with good therapists, all of that which is out there, and when people are putting their best foot forward, they're not going to say, hey, I come to you with my criteria and I'm going to expect you to have to meet me. No, they're looking to work to get to where the healthy inner and outer well-being is. So there are groups of people. We'll be back with more topics. But again, the 5D people, at least here at IHP, we like to be the wind beneath each other's wings, because we are healthy other. So we can share fears and concerns and vulnerability, and we know that no one's going to come and hit us back with that, that we're going to continue to have effective communication, and we automatically have healthy boundaries, because there's always going to be a conversation with the ones who are playful at heart and young at heart, right? Michael Bublé. So we'll be back again with more potentially later or throughout the week. This is going to be our theme and themes, even though I have some more stuff that's rolling through my brain. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back again.